I've noticed that a lot of your music really lends itself to film. Are you going to try and incorporate that in the future into film?
Well, I'm glad you noticed that, because I'll tell you that's one thing that is something that I'm very, very interested in, and that is doing music for film. And I think you're right. I think that my music and the use of guitar loops lends itself very well to film. Sometimes it's the length of the track, also lends itself to film. If you have, instead of a 3-minute, 5-minute song and you need a 10-minute piece, rather than looping it, to create a soundtrack, why not have, a lengthy track, from beginning to end. So that's something I've been working on for quite a while, is basically trying to make music for film. Another thing is that the music that I create, I very much envision a film, if you like. It's very much I don't know how to say it, cinematic, if you like. I very much envision the moods and atmospheres that my music creates as it could be in a film, and which is why I watch a lot of films, really, to see the different kinds of tensions and moods and atmospheres that are created. That's definitely something that I'm working on, is to create music for film, and something I'm definitely interested in.
A lot of the video quality and sound quality on some of your earlier material was kind of grainy. What have you done to improve
Grainy? Grainy? What? I don't understand. What do you mean, grainy?
A lot of the video quality and sound quality on some of your earlier material was kind of grainy. What have you done to improve?
So what you're saying is that you think my early videos are grainy? What do you mean, grainy? Look, I'm not going to sit here and take this. I'm sorry. No, this interview's over. This interview's over. I'm not going to sit here and be insulted. I'm not going to sit here and be insulted. I'm sorry. This interview's over. Well, yes, unfortunately, especially some of the concert videos, especially the early ones, unfortunately, back then, the video camera that I had was a high 8 camera, an analog camera, and at very best sound-wise, you get sound from the camera, which was just a little tiny microphone in mono. It wasn't even stereo. I'm glad to have the footage of it, but you're right. I wish it was a little more little better quality, than it is. But that was a limitation of what I had to work with at the time. It's just the analog cameras. Now, eventually, I did switch to a digital camera, which is what we're using right now, in fact, which seems to be pretty good.
Now that you're doing more video, what can we expect from you in the future?
Well, in the future, I think things to expect, at least for me, are certainly to try to document my evolving musical style, and also the albums that I recorded. Doing documentary type interviews, maybe rockumentaries, if you like. I certainly want to do that. Also, I have a very good time creating, little short films independent films. I really have a good time doing that. Usually comedies, but eventually I'd like to actually also create an actual film, full-length feature film, independent film. It's certainly one of the goals that I'd like to reach. But we'll see how that goes. I discovered I think I'm better at playing guitar and making music than I am at making films, unfortunately. The other thing is, as far as independent films, one, I have no budget to work with, and two, while the cameras are getting better, compared to a true feature film, from a Hollywood studio or something. What I didn't realize is that, the cameras that they use, you can't even buy them. And if you did buy them, they'd be millions of dollars, and that they are actually rented and things, and you need an enormous crew and things, So it'll definitely be an independent film, which I really like to do, and I think I will do that at some point. And definitely I will keep documenting what I'm doing with guitar and those kinds of things.
Will you also do the soundtracks on those films?
Oh yes, definitely. I'll definitely be doing soundtracks for films. In fact, just recently, there's a film company in New York called Can Do Films, and they've licensed some of my music for a film soundtrack. That's definitely something I'm interested in doing, and so far I've got a few credits of music that I've contributed to the soundtrack for films, and I've done the soundtrack for a few independent films as well.
So now you're going to be working on documentaries and films as well?
Yes, that's right. I'll be doing basically films and documentaries. I really enjoy it. It's very time consuming, unfortunately. I remember, just for fun, they won't all be guitar orientated documentaries and films. I'd like to stretch out and do some other things too. I did the Jimmy Carter Killer Rabbits and UFOs documentary. That was really just for fun, messing around and seeing what was possible, what is possible with what I'm able to work with and afford to work with, as far as editing and cameras and those kinds of things. While it was funny, the rumors persisted. I thought that there surely must be some truth to it, so I decided to investigate. I hope to do more of those kinds of things, films and documentaries as well, and I think both lend themselves very well to what I'm trying to accomplish. The documentaries are certainly very good as far as the guitar and documenting my progress on guitar, whereas the independent films are really more for fun and enjoyment, which is the whole idea, And I certainly have fun doing it. I think it'd be very interesting, though, to do an actual independent film with actual actors and actresses.
Are you enjoying making independent films now?
Well, I've just scratched the surface as far as making indie films, but yeah, I absolutely, I love it. It's really fun time, And I tell you, I originally thought, that'd be very easy, and it turns out it's not that easy at all, and it's very, very time consuming. But as I said, one thing I'd like to do, as far as is doing a real independent film, and actually hiring actors, to be in the film as well, on a volunteer basis, of course, because financially I can afford to pay them. And there's a big independent film community. A lot of potential actors and actresses who are just getting started, and are studying to be actors and actresses, there's actors who are starting out or studying to be an actor who, very much need to be in the independent films, for their resume and those kinds of things, and are willing to volunteer their time. So that's something at some point, that I certainly would like to get into.
So what's next, Denis? A film production company?
Oh yeah, certainly. A film production company would be really great. I certainly am interested in that side of it, video production and post-production and editing. I've worked at a television station to try to learn a little bit more about it, overnights and things, and that seems to have helped quite a bit as far as learning, the different post-production and production and editing of video. So a video production company is certainly a possibility, but really, it's just me. So I don't know that it would really be considered a company at all. And not only that, it would be me so far, with one camera and a tripod. So, but it's definitely a direction I want to go in, and something I can learn.
So, I guess you're also writing scripts now?
Well, yes, I'm also writing scripts. They're terrible, though, let me tell you. But they're very fun. They're very enjoyable. You have to understand, I've certainly been a film fan, a movie fan for a long time. I've watched many, many films. And, a lot of times I watch a film and I think, gosh, I could have written a better script than that. That was lousy. Or why didn't the film, end in this way or begin in this way? And so, certainly I started writing my own scripts. The only thing is, again, it's time consuming. Other than that, it's pretty simple. I think I started out with, the horror films and things like that. And eventually I'll write some more scripts and things. But yes, I really enjoy the scripts, and one day I think it'd be very interesting to try to make a film out of these scripts that I'm writing. They're quite shocking, though. I think some are good and some are not so good. And some are strictly for fun and just being, zany, really, just kind of crazy and things that would never really happen in real life or that kind of thing. But I think it would be fun to see on the screen anyways. So that's something I'll do as well. I just, with the music things, I don't have a lot of time to do that, but it's certainly something I'd be interested in doing. And I'll keep writing it, keep writing it. And it's also fun to get other people's reaction who actually bother to read the script, or at least browse through it. And they're everything from, this movie should never be made, to, gosh, this is really an interesting story, and it would make for a very good movie. So it just depends on people's views. So I'll definitely keep writing scripts.